Now, a therapist who's worked with some abduction cases told me recently that in these experiences we go through certain stages of emotional responses, and that there is a stage in which abductees grieve for reality, just as a mourner grieves for the loss of a loved one. And we loved our world. We were happy, productive, integrated people. The world that we had always known was the world we loved, and it had been taken away from us permanently. You can't unknow this material. There is a loose pattern of responses to the abduction situation, and I would really like to say how much I appreciate being able to follow Mr. Conroy's talk, because many of the things that you pointed out in your own experiences and others, of course, we run into over and over and over again. So coming from two different places, we're seeing many of the same things. Now, typically, we first try to explain the events away. There's got to be a rational explanation, even if that is, we must be crazy, so therefore we can be cured and we can go back to the world we knew. And then we become frightened when the explanations don't work. The next reaction usually goes one of two ways. Either there's a reaction of anger or a reaction of almost religious awe involved, depending upon the particular nature of the events the abductee recalls. In almost all cases, I believe I'm safe in saying, there's a desire to widen our learning. This desire increases, frequently focusing on a range of topics from the metaphysical and the paranormal to physics and mathematics. Another typical response is withdrawing from close friends and families, at least for a while, because it's very, very difficult to tell these people whom we love and whom we depend upon for support that aliens have been coming into our bedrooms at night. Rejection that we get and the lack of faith these people surely have in us and that we fear they will have in us, it is devastating. And so many of us quit taking the chance, or we don't take the chance for a long while. And it's equally hard for us to be around these people we love and keep quiet about these events in our lives. Our silence is like lying about something very, very important. So there is a withdrawal, a separation from these people for a great deal of the time. And I'd like to say congratulations to Ellen and the Mufon group here that put together, and Jean who put together the abduction support group, because frankly, sometimes the only place we feel completely comfortable, open, and honest is with others who've been through these experiences. We need those times. People who we know from their own experience do not doubt ours. This is important. We have enough self-doubt as it is. So I applaud your efforts in the Austin area to do this for people. The reason that we have self-doubts is because of the elusive nature of the alien abduction phenomenon. When we're taken, our state of mind is normally so altered that these events have a dreamlike or a surreal quality. Even when there's physical evidence or corroborating witnesses to support them, that support the fact that the abduction experience has occurred, we still cannot put it in the same reality with this. Now, some researchers have noted that this surreal quality is so consistent that it may well be deliberate rather than a mere byproduct of some of the abduction mechanisms that we don't understand. That it may be designed this way, perhaps to teach us something about the nature of reality, or perhaps to deter us from any absolute belief in the reality of the abductions ourselves. And I think there's a reason behind this. If we don't completely believe that such things actually are occurring, we aren't very likely to work on ways to alter, change, or stop this phenomenon. You don't put your energy into things you're not certain are real. The more tentative the reality, the more passively we react. Now, this isn't true of at least some part of our government, I would like to point out. On some of the portion of the government, and God knows we have been trying to pin down what portion that may be, and we're having very little luck with it, but it's a definitely human and powerful part. The research has shown that there is an active involvement. You know the Freedom of Information Act history. You know the researchers who look into the cover-up. They are interested. They're very interested. And several abductees know this only too well because not only have they been abducted by these aliens, whatever they are, they've also been, and I'll put it politely, detained by very human sources with clear ties to the military in most of the cases, and have been questioned about the UFOs, the ETs, and our relationships to them, what we know about them. They've also been threatened by these human agents if we do not present the information they're asking for. It's not widely common, but it is reported in multiple instances. Many abductees also experience some symptom of an apparently human agency's interest in them. You're familiar from, I know Ed has at least had this, you've got the phone interruptions, the strange goings on with the phone that weren't there when you talk about swapping recipes with Mom, or the show you saw last week, but only when you're on the subject of UFOs. Tampered mail, again, only UFO-related mail. I've tried to talk to the post office about this. It's a waste of time. Helicopters over the houses are following the cars over and over and over again. We too, and I don't want to top your story, Ed, when you had the 2 helicopters like egg beaters. I had just said right before you brought this up that I have on video 3 of them doing the same thing. We've had as many as 9 in one day, and they seem to like to come in clumps of 3. 3 different times, 3 different times in one day over a house we had lived in for 5 years before this, where there had never been a helicopter over the house. We've had them after midnight. We've had every window in the house rattled by them. They're so low we think they're landing. This may be ET related, it may be some other dimensionality and manifesting in a strange way, or it may be a very human agency behind this. We've also been followed several times, and again, from UFO-related meetings. Well, so far I've tried to tell you a little bit of what it feels like from the inside of going through these experiences. The emotional impact leaves people with altered perceptions of reality, there's no doubt of that. It changes personal relationships. It brings about self-doubt. It brings about a quest for greater knowledge and understanding. These are all very typical responses to what it's like to go through this. And these are all things that we know from having been through them. But I moved from being an abductee, looking at my own material, to working with other cases. I feel like there's nothing more important that I can do than to help other people not feel as lost and helpless and afraid as we did in the beginning. This is important to me. It's the reason I no longer teach, and I work full-time with abduction research.